Hello. Good day. Welcome to another edition of Africans in America channel. With me is Woriche.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, Woriche, um, there's been something that has been in the news now for quite almost a year, but
Hmm.
recently it came back up into the news, and it has to do with the Somali community in Minnesota.
Okay.
There's a large Somali community in Minnesota,
Population.
and they're a very successful community by my all reckoning. They work very hard. They
Hmm.
contribute. They have a lot of involvement in that community. When I was in Minneapolis, I was embedded in some of the communities that they're in. But
Hmm.
something is now happening. They have a very successful enclave in Minneapolis, but
Yes. So,
something
mhm.
is happening, and that has impacted on the image of the Somali community in America. And that has to do with arrest of some members of that community who took part or who were part of a scheme that
Mhm.
that the FBI and the IRS says was a fraud scheme, and they've
Mhm.
been arrested. And there's
Mhm.
been quite a lot of arrests. I think at last count, there were 75 people who were arrested. It had to do with scheme that had to do with feeding children during
Mhm.
COVID-19. That was 2 years when everybody was quarantined. And it was a very tough one. It has brought a lot of, say, attention to the community. We should know that this is a very successful community. They have quite a lot of politicians and people who play community roles in Minneapolis.
Mhm.
The Somali population is really, really big there. They are very involved in that place. But this is now bringing some attention to it. So I said, let's discuss it today.
Sure.
So that's the thing I have here. Before we continue, I have
Mhm.
updates from
Mhm.
one from the both are from the Department of Defense, so that it will give us an understanding of what really happened.
Back down.
Yes. So we have this update from the Department of Defense where the first one shows us a it says three plead guilty to wire fraud in 250 million feeding our future fraud. I think this was in 2020.
That's wild. Hmm.
Mhm. So it says Minneapolis, Haji Osman Salad, Shak Mekel Issa, and Kadra Abdi pleaded guilty to their roles in a $250 million fraud scheme that exploited the federally funded child nutrition program during the COVID-19 pandemic, announced United States Attorney General M. Lugar. According
Hmm.
to court documents, Salah 34, the owner and operator of Haji Kitchen LLC, enrolls the federal child nutrition program under the sponsorship of Feeding Our Future and sponsor A Salad and his co-conspirators, including
Hmm.
42, Abdi 42, opened sites across the state of Minnesota, as well as multiple shell companies which were used to facilitate the fraud. Between
Hmm.
June 2020 and through 2022, Salad falsely claimed that Haji Kitchen was a food vendor for more than 15 million meals.
Hmm.
Federal Child Nutrition Program sites in Minnesota. Co-defendant Issa and Kwaso Jama were among the largest recipients of purported food from Salad. So they now say that they gave examples of how in November 2021, Salad created fraudulent food invoices falsely claiming that he supplied Kwasa Jama Pelican Rapids site, a small town in west central Minnesota with a
Hmm.
population of approximately 2,500 people, that is supplied him with 293 and 300 worth of food for 140 meals and snacks. In total, Salad fraudulently received approximately 11 million in federal child nutrition program funds, which is spent on real estate and luxury um, vehicles. This was in 2024, and
Hmm.
this happened when, in fact, there was one of them who was going on to, I think he was caught in the plane and brought back. Yes, some of them have their this real estate investments in Kenya, in Somalia, in Mogadishu, in Nairobi. because we should
Mhm.
remember that during the one of the big problems of the war in Somalia was the Dadaab refugee camp, one of the biggest refugee camps in the whole of East Africa, there, if not in, and they have very big community also in Kenya. Uh,
Mhm.
when I was in Nairobi, I saw the Somalis very involved in money exchange. They are very much involved in the money exchange business.
Mhm.
They do it
Mhm.
in UK, even in the United Kingdom, in London. There, I used to
Mhm.
in this thing. But to a large extent, they are very entrepreneurial, and this has really brought damage to the image of the community. What do you think about it?
I mean, when you said you wanted to discuss it, I mean, the first thing I was a bit defensive considering the sensitivity of it,
Mm,
right? How sensitive it is. I also didn't want to shed like negative light on that particular community, knowing that we have one of our own doing amazing work there. And so I kind of had my reservations about it, but I do like that we want to report on it. What do I think about it? So a lot of things happened during COVID, right? We can attribute it to a ton of, give it a ton of reasons, both even on the government side of things, on the individual side of things. There was mass hysteria, right? I'm not
mhm,
rationalizing it. I'm not trying to say, I mean, come on, people stealing 250 million, that's bad, right? I'm not, but I'm being careful not to place any judgment in any way, shape, or form. But what I'm saying is, there was mass hysteria, right? And I feel that that facilitated a lot of these mishaps. Now, well-meaning community leaders, they could, again, when we tie it to mass hysteria going on at the time, even based on even on the government side of things, bad decisions were made by a lot of people. 250 million is a lot of money.
mm,
100 million, 1 million even for something that doesn't exist is a lot of money. Do you understand what I'm saying? So,
mm.
yes, it's wrong, it was wrong, but we have to also look at what took place. I had actually had a question for you that I hoped you could respond to,
No, no problem.
right?
You can shoot.
Yeah, so but I'm pretty much already unpacking it. I mean, the question becomes, did fear drive these bad decisions, right? Did fear of, okay, what's coming in the future, what we have, because the pandemic presented a really grim picture for everybody. We didn't know what was going on. All I know is that one day they said America was shut down. The next, we could not even go to the stores to buy food, right? We could not go to the stores. The kids were home. Everything was shut down. And I
Yeah,
was in
it was a
Connecticut.
bad time. It was a bad time.
Yes, I was in Connecticut. It was really cold. It was very dark. It was scary. Now, the question I'm asking is, based on what took place, because I remember when the federal government put out a couple of programs that people could apply to. Even our nonprofit applied to the EIDL loan thing, right? Just
Mm,
simply because we needed a little bit of funding. Everybody needed funding. But the question I'm asking is, to what extent did that fear drive people to get not only greedy but reckless? Do you understand? It's one thing to say, okay, you're borrowing $1,000, $10,000, even $20,000 from the government. It's another thing to now create these programs that don't exist. You know what I mean? And then
mm.
go above and beyond to, like, at what point did you not think it was going to be tracked? So I don't
Well,
want to come across as being judgmental, especially for the positions that I'm in, basically, as also a nonprofit leader myself. I want to be careful so that
yeah. I
no
want to.
judgment.
I have a motive for bringing this up. We are Nigerians, and we suffer from the fact that a few Nigerians make us seem bad to,
Yes,
and the people tend to forget that Nigerians are doctors, Nigerians are pilots, Nigerians are
we're
engineers in
everything.
NASA. They are in Dell computers. I see a lot of them in Dell computers, and but it is those few Nigerians who do something that we see in Washington Times and we see in New York Times. And that's a narrative that is put out there, and that's a narrative that dominates. This is on the website site of the federal of the Department of Defense. It's not going to go away, and that's what many people will take away from that community. So it's very important to point out that that community is a very hardworking community. I know that that community produces a lot of businesses. I know because, like I told you, the Somalis are very entrepreneurial. It's
Yeah.
just that some people here did take an advantage. Let us
They did
understand
take
that
an
that
advantage.
250 million is not the Somali program. Oh. It's just that some of
Mhm.
them decided that they saw a loophole where they could claim and get money. That program
So,
was done by the owner of the Feed Our Children for the Future or something like that. She has
yeah.
that foundation, and it is that foundation that is being persecuted. So everybody that got money under that foundation is the one now that is being chased around. In fact, I got an update on the last one that was just got the 75th woman who was charged just a few weeks ago, and that's
Mhm.
why I brought this matter up. You know,
Yeah, so like in emergencies, right? Governments tend to prioritize, speed. They tend to move fast, right? Because it's an emergency. It makes a lot of sense. And the rules were relaxed. I'm telling you, as a nonprofit leader, what was in front of me. I could have applied for one of these $250 million things. You
Chai,
also come from the
you
angle
did
of,
not.
but why would I? Why would I? How would I justify it? I said, what did I do? I took a loan of $10,500. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't even like, and they said, and let me tell you about what took place, right? I don't know if I'm giving away too much information by saying this, but it's also public record too. But I'm trying to say something that what allows this be possible, right, is that window, right, of okay, what you're allowed to borrow and what, they gave us a wide window. I think they gave us up to 500,000 to borrow or
Mm,
about 2 million. Now, if you do have a program that caters to that, we had a food program, right? But our food program was from the likes of Panera. So it wasn't something we actually had to create or spend any money doing. They just already gave us food from Panera, and then we would go distribute it to our immigrants, right? We did that. That was at no cost to us, but I don't want to always keep saying at no cost to us because there's the car, there's the gas, there's the time,
mm,
volunteers. So it's really not at no cost to us. But the point I'm making is it didn't require us to ask for additional funding to do that. What am I trying to say? A lot of these people, well-meaning people, fall into that trap. Because it's there and available doesn't mean you should go and get it.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? So, but
mm,
not everybody is going to, again, we're very tiny, we're very small compared to the work these other people are doing, right?
yeah.
And what I'm saying again, which is why I said, did fear drive these bad decisions? In an emergency like that, a lot of these organizations probably went for more than less. But now, in these kind of groups, there are always going to be a few bad apples. Once you're looking at the money, it's right there in front of you. Guess what? You're now like, I don't know.
Mm,
I'm just saying, I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
saying it's normal and it's
One
good.
one
Saying
of the
it
one of
becomes easier for them to make wrong decisions, if
yeah.
that makes any sense. Yeah. So,
One of the things that we should know in America when we come to America is that America
of
keeps record. You see how sometimes
course.
we have cold case files, 20 years, 30 years, a case has gone and everything. Their judicial system, their policing system is very meticulous. I guess maybe in the heat of all that
Hmm.
COVID thing, I have it's something here. The scheme under which they did all this is Feeding Our Future was a non-profit organization purportedly in the business of helping community partners participate in federal child nutrition program. And
Hmm.
it is owned by Amy Buck, convicted at trial and pending sentencing, was the founder and executive. So she is the one who started the program. And that program had barely $1 million as funding. And then by the 2 years, she managed to draw up 250 million. So she was now looking for participants in her program.
Oh,
So
wow.
it is she who now co-opted these other guys. So I
So
mean,
you
but
see what the trap is in there. I mean, I'm telling you that I run an organization. I know what I'm talking about. It's there. The money's in front of you, right? But you have to know what you're doing, right? You
well,
have to not only know what you're doing, also, so like there has to be a level of restraint because there can be abuse. That's why the checks and balances are always necessary. You must have a director. We don't have a director yet, right? You must have a director. Then you must have people that work under the director. Then you can be an overseer, and then you know where, and then you have a board of directors as well. And then that's what strengthens the checks and balances, so that when things are being done, everybody is talking about what goes where. But in that type of mass hysteria that we saw during the pandemic, I want to tell you, I'm not validating it. I'm not trying to say it was right or wrong. I'm simply trying to rationalize what took place in that moment, right? Where did the
mm,
money actually go? Now, the problem is, how do you trace those funds? How do you trace it after disbursement, right? How do you trace it? I mean, okay, you have the banks, you have all of that, but it's easy for them to just make up anything and say, but as I was saying, the 250 million, the 1 million, even the 500,000 being allocated to something that doesn't exist. Come on.
yeah,
It's well conscience. You know what I mean?
the last lady that I think she also is Somali is Wana Ways Fiden, who
I
is
don't want to
54.
mention their names. Can we just leave
No,
it?
these are indicted. This is also from the Department of Defense.
I
It's on
know, but I'm saying
record.
yeah, it's on record, but I don't even think we should just let's leave them. People can
Yeah.
research it.
Anyway, she was indicted on a 10 count indictment and 3 counts of wire fraud for 4 counts of federal program bribery. She actually ended up bribing some of the people who were promoting these programs, $27,000. But what I'm trying to say is that when we come to America, we shouldn't judge their judicial and their
No,
enforcement
we
and
don't.
policing system with
No,
the
no,
one
no.
we know back in Africa, which is broken and which is exploited by politicians, exploited by almost everybody in the community. Many times when people come here, they find this place very difficult because
Mhm,
they can't get that leeway and that freedom that they used to have with the police,
mhm,
with the law enforcement and all those things. Well, we should all be very careful for it. Why I'm worrying now is the whole
mhm.
image of all the
Oh,
people
of the
doing
work
good
they've done.
or doing
Yeah.
good in the Somali community. You
They've done all
know,
this good work in the past and now they've ruined it. Our organization is 10 years old. We have a lot of work to do, right? But we don't even have the funding simply because even campaigning, there was even a time we started campaigns on Facebook. And for some reason, Facebook shut down our ability to campaign on Facebook. It's not the case anymore. But you won't believe that since that time, I've been really careful, right? I've been really careful. I don't even know how to fundraise. Like, not that I don't know how to, I know where to go to fundraise. I haven't yet fundraised because, again, everything we're doing is out of our own pockets, right? The point I'm making is you get to a point because you know that they will come back and review all this stuff eventually, right? You have to be careful. But who are we to school these people? People that have done good work in the past, they've been there for who knows, maybe 20 years. They probably had one bad apple that took the whole team down, that tanked their organization, their reputation, as well as the work they've done. And it's just sad. It's
mm,
sad. I just don't want us to be in a position where we appear as if we're judge and jury of
no, no,
others.
no, no,
That's
we're
why I'm
not. We're not.
careful.
Like I told you, we as Nigerians, we are permanent victims of characterization and stereotypes.
Indeed,
They see
indeed.
you and they think you're a scammer. They see you, they think that you are a Christian killer. They paint people just because of what a few people do. And
Indeed.
that's what
Indeed.
this thing, you know.
And it puts us in a position where you have to be very as transparent as you can be, you know,
Yeah.
having
Yeah,
these
this place they keep records. Your Facebook
responsibilities.
post, in fact your LinkedIn post, your social media post. In fact, these days you want to go for visa, they want you to see what you have said in the past.
Yeah.
You know. Okay,
No, no, no.
let's go. Let's go to another. I want to ask you a question. I want to ask
Mhm.
you a question. If you're the president of an African country, will you accept deportees from America, like from Venezuela,
Mm.
from Mexican deportees? Will you
Of
accept them
course
in your
not. I'll
country?
say no.
Hi, you will not? Well,
No.
I'll tell you this. Five countries have already accepted them, five African countries. And let me name them. You'll be shocked at one of them. You probably know that the others you will understand. Eswatini and South Sudan.
Mhm.
They
Oh,
are
wow.
not in good place. Rwanda also has accepted.
Oh, wow.
But what shocked the names that shocked me the most were Uganda and Ghana.
Hmm.
Ghana just accepted recently. Ghana has confirmed receiving 14 deportees, including Nigerians and a Gambian, and agreed to accept more nationals from other West African countries. So
Oh,
Ghana is taking on West Africans. Uganda reached a temporary arrangement to accept deportees, stating it will not take individuals with a criminal record.
so I think that if I were to speak on Ghana accepting deportees, Ghana has this program where it's been inviting people to come move to Ghana. So from
Mm.
that standpoint, I'll look at it like Ghana is saying, how, why wouldn't I accept people to our beautiful land? Why wouldn't I give them a place to call a new home? I'll look at Ghana's position again because of the history and what they've been doing in the past 10, 15, 20 years of resettling people, right? Especially people of African descent. Now, I don't know who's being deported. I don't know if Mexicans are part of the group. I don't know if it's just Africans. I'll only validate Ghana's program with the understanding that Ghana has already has programs in place for resettling Africans. But to speak to whether I would, as a president, if I would accept, I wouldn't, because that's especially knowing the president is asking me to accept being Donald Trump. I will not, because I know, first of all, this has never been done before. And, the inconvenience involved and all of that for the people. I'll say no.
But
But some of those countries are probably under like, at this point, it looks like they just want to create that home or space for people because it's unheard of that you're deporting people. And then not only are you deporting them, you're deporting them in random countries that they have no
it used to be
business
Ecuador. It
being
used to
in.
be the worst prison in Ecuador. You just send them there and all that. But there's a reason why I brought up this story.
Yeah.
It was revealed in the media today that they
Hmm.
actually pay the governments for it. They give like, there's how do they call it in Latin? That you give me, I give you. Scratch my back, I scratch your back. So for many of those other countries, they want better relationships or whatever it is they want from America. But today, US pays African nations $7.5 million to accept
Oh,
deportees.
wow. The financial incentive.
Yeah, Democratic Senator Shaheen has criticized the highly unusual payment to Equatorial Guinea. Washington has transferred 7.5 million to the government of Equatorial Guinea under the deal to accept non-citizens deported from US, according to US Democratic Senator
Hmm.
Jean Shaheen. In a letter to Marco Rubio on Monday, the ranking member of the Senate Foreign Committee noted that the highly unusual payment to one of the most corrupt governments in the world, that is by our own reckoning, the Central African country's history of corruption and less complicity in human trafficking raises serious concerns over the responsibility, transparent use of American taxpayers' money. It is this kind of things that really make me shocked. $7.5 million, and then you bring it up to the Senate, and then we see how over the course of the past two years, America has transferred $30 billion to Israel. The disparity in how they make things up in this country is just amazing. They are now
Yeah.
calling the Equatorial Guinea a corrupt country, a this country. I've been to Equatorial Guinea before. I went to, and quite an interesting place. That's the only place where I saw the beach is black. The sand of the beach is black, you
Hmm.
know, and
Hmm.
very beautiful place. I went to
In
Malabo.
Equatorial Guinea, right?
Yes, Malabo. And
Yeah.
now you've brought them to to this thing over because of the sum of $7 million. You are painting a country so terribly and making them look. so bad? While we know that that same person now, this same lady, if you
Yeah.
ask her that should they send, she probably had approved some of the monies that is going to some of the so-called allies of America.
Mm-hmm.
And this will run in the billion. She would have no trouble with sending $60 billion to Ukraine. She would have no trouble at all in sending money to overthrow the government in Venezuela. These are kind of double standards that sometimes you just see. And this is
Yes,
your party
indeed.
member, that's your party member, Democratic Party. So, yeah, that is painting a country bad because, and maybe she wants the president, the Marco Rubio, to come and explain the payment. Rather than call Marco Rubio to come and explain the payment, she
Mm-hmm.
is insinuating and imputing that this payment is going to a shady, corrupt country so that they can accept refugees, I mean, deportees from America. And this is the kind of pain we get from from government officials. Africa
Indeed.
is always Africa is always this lady will
But
not
I
have
have
any.
key questions. So
Yes.
one of my main questions is who's watching the watchers? So you know what, like when money, big dollars start flowing, what oversight, and I think I can frame this as a question for you, what oversight should exist, right, over these agencies themselves? Like, what should we put in place, so that, these government departments, they don't overspend, they don't rubber stamp, vendors or ignore the red flags. The question I'm asking is, and the reason I'm asking this is, I'm tying it, I need to tie it to the other situation we just, talked about. During COVID, the overspending was very clear, right?
Mm.
Now, with this government as well, overspending is a key factor. Overspending on certain things that while others are suffering. So the question is, who's watching the watchers?
Well, let me tell you something, right? If I
Who's
know a
watching
little
the
bit,
watchers?
I know a little bit about sending refugees and sending back prisoners. Nigeria was had a program with Britain to send
Mhm.
back Nigerian prisoners who have served their term to come and complete their term in Nigeria. Sometimes they serve half
Mhm.
their term in. The British government had to give Nigeria money to develop and improve the Benin
Of
prison
course.
because they have a standard of their own prison and because of their so-called tenured human rights. If they come to the Benin prison there, they
Gonna
want it to be,
be
so they
culture
actually
shock.
approved money. And the foreign department, you want an agenda, a country says we are constrained, we can't accept them. They have frameworks, and these governments, they don't, not everything falls under the budget. They have some
Mm.
systems of being able, even in a private company, they call it petty cash. Even
Mhm.
in a private company, they call it petty cash. You want a country to accept refugees. That country could tell you that we don't have the infrastructure for it. So how much would it cost? Then they say we need $10 million. We can do a counterpart funding for you, 50-50, and then they do it. And they have a framework under which they can do this kind of
Mhm.
under which they can do this kind of things. So, but
Mhm.
to come and impugn and bring the whole country to opprobrium because of Equatorial Guinea on a per capita basis is supposed to be one of the richest countries in Africa anyway. They produce a lot of oil, you
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
So when you see this kind of putting down of Africans by your Democratic Party member, now it's a little bit repulsive. It's a little bit repulsive. If they
Mhm.
want better answers from Marco Rubio, they don't need to um, paint a whole country
Mhm.
as being bad. This is what we see, and this is the narrative we get all the time from their media. This is what we get from their NGOs. This is what we get from every other thing. The people in Africa, people who didn't know anything about Nigeria, used to think different things about Nigeria, about African countries, until they started seeing things on social media. And it is why we do this program. This program is for us to be able to talk more and give voice to our own reality, so that it's not the one shaped by CNN and BBC and all these narrative shaping organizations that we have out there. How many of them do you have? They're doing your interview with you. Anyway, anyway, it seems like they want mommy. So we'll.
But
Is there any
yes,
other?
I mean, yeah, no, no, no. I just wanted to address it. It's not okay what's going on with this government and how they're shipping people to weird countries that have nothing to do with them. I don't like it. I don't approve of it. And yeah, I don't think it's a good idea. So it's unheard of.
Anyway,
Yeah.
well, we will continue to explore these themes and these issues and these stories. The one regarding the Somali societies in Minneapolis and Minnesota, there it has to do with the fact that we don't want we don't want the actions of some people to be perceived as the action of the whole community.
Indeed, indeed. And that's okay that we're addressing it. I
Yes.
like how we're addressing it. I just don't want us to come across as if we're judging anybody.
No, no, we are not. We are not in this place. In fact, I am not so much into reporting crimes on africansinamerica.com, but
Mhm,
crime is also part of it. We come here, we achieve successes. Some of us,
mhm,
our stories are that of pain. We are struggling. Some come crack the code of America and succeed.
mhm,
The Somali community and the Ethiopian community are two of the biggest communities. They have a very big Ethiopian community, Oromos in Ethiopia there, and you see pain in these communities when they have conflicts back home. Like in Ethiopia now, they had a time when there was a war between the Tigray people and the rest of the
mhm,
country. And those cause cleavages because the Ethiopians and Somalis tend to form enclaves. They have a
mhm,
big Ethiopian community also in Washington, D.C., you see. So they form enclaves. They're not like Nigerians and West Africans who live very far away from each other. They tend to
mhm,
live, and that's why you see Ethiopian restaurants, you see Ethiopian shops all over, much more successful than you will see West African communities. So they form enclaves, just like the Chinese, they form
mhm.
enclaves like the
Yeah.
Koreans, So they're very successful, and it's not good that we need to address the fact that and mention the fact that even though these people have been indicted, they've confessed. It
Mhm.
is not by any means a representation and a characterization of that
Of the
community.
people, yes. I'm sure a lot of American agencies also went down, right? Organizations. I don't know the details. I haven't really paid attention to the list of people who have gone down for COVID violations, I want to call it.
Oh.
Funding violations. I don't know the number of
It's
people.
ongoing. It's ongoing.
So
Mm.
it's just interesting to hear that, it's sad as well as interesting because at what point did your conscience not trigger you to not do that?
Well,
Get away with it.
maybe I don't know who the Army Brooks is, but when you feel that you feel protected somehow, but there's no justification for it. The American system is not one you can game. They will always come. They are very
Well,
thorough.
it's
Somehow it will come up
quite
and it will
interesting.
bite you. So your best way of surviving in America, either as an immigrant or as an American,
Hmm.
is to stay on the right side of the law.
Definitely so. Exactly.
Yeah,
All right.
Woriche.
That was a great conversation.
Yes, yes. Well, we have run out of time, even though we have a little time. But we just want to, if you're
Mhm.
new to our channel, if you think you like what we are doing, if you have suggestions, if you know people who can contribute to this topic, if you know a Somalian who knows a little bit about this topic, put in the comment section, reach out. We want to get more voices, more people to tell us about what's happening in their community, the how it's impacting on them. If you're a Somali living in Minneapolis, or even if you're a member of the Somali community, tell us how this persecution, these indictments have affected the general larger
Can I say this?
community.
Can I say this though? It's like telling us as Nigerians that we should speak on Nigerians committing crime. People are going to do what they're
No,
going to.
but it affects our community. It affects how
It
people
does
perceive
affect us,
us.
but look at us now. We've been dealing with Nigerians being rogues for a minute. And my point is, we can't, they can't speak on it because they're not directly involved, is what I'm
Okay,
saying.
okay.
Mhm.
Anyway, if you're new to our channel, please subscribe. If you have any views regarding the opinions we just expressed, please put them in the comment section. Do well to like and share. Until our next video, you have a good day.